Namaste. My name is Kirti, and on behalf of Himalayan Yoga Association, I welcome you all to this online teacher training course. I am a teacher here at Himalayan Yoga Association, and I will be taking you through the concepts and details of the human body and yoga altogether. Let's hope you enjoy this course. Let's start.
Namaste and welcome back to the online yoga teacher training course. In the previous session, we discussed the anatomy and the structure of the pectoral girdle. In this video, we are going to figure out the anatomy and structure of the pelvic girdle or the lower human limbs as it is. But before we go ahead and do that, I request you all to come and sit together with me as we chant the Gayatri Mantra together. Activate Chin Mudra by joining your index finger with your thumb, spine straight, shoulders roll to the back, and simply close your eyes to observe your breath and use your breath as an instrument to study your body. The eyes are the gateway to the outside world. The breath is the gateway to the inside world. Only after you close your eyes can you look at what's going on inside you. So allow your breath to study each and every nook and corner of what's happening inside you, and allow it to rebalance your whole being, your mind and your body together. Simply breathe slowly and breathe deeply to make it happen, to make it work, and observe the effect it leaves on your mind and your body. Now slowly bring your hands in front of your chest, Namaskara Sthiti. With a lot of pride and gratitude towards everything that surrounds you, towards Mother Nature, let us chant the Gayatri Mantra together. Slowly breathe in once. Now with me. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Having absorbed the vibration of the mantra, let's start rubbing our palms and create some energy between our hands without opening your eyes. Now cover your eyes with your palms and transfer this energy straight away to your eyes. Massage your face, the back of your neck, and anywhere else you wish to transfer this energy to. Once again, fold your palms, bow down to your fingertips with a few blinks, open your eyes, and welcome back. So in the previous video, we discussed the anatomy of the pectoral girdle or the shoulder joint as it is. In this video, we are going to discuss the anatomy and the structure of the pelvic girdle or the pelvis joint, the hip joint as we know it. The hip joint is a very important joint in the human body because if there is a disability, if there is a problem associated with the hip joint, then it limits our locomotion, it limits our ability to stand, it limits our ability to balance ourselves on these two legs that we walk around in. If you have a problem with the pelvic girdle, naturally you would not be able to work, walk, run, jump around as easily as you can right now. And this is the easy part. Think about the yoga asanas that are possible that you have to do, which all include the pelvic girdle as it is. Now, what is this pelvic girdle? Let's come and understand this whole joint together. Now, if you'll pay attention to the pelvic joint as it is, then you'll see that it is a very artistic curvature as it is, which does not match the structure of any other joint as it is. If you paid attention on the pectoral girdle, then you'll realize that this big bone, the biggest bone or the hip bone as it is, plays a similar role as the shoulder blade or the scapular bone. If we have to go into the details of the pelvic joint, then the pelvic joint is basically made up of 3 different bones which are attached to the sacrum region, the sacrum part of the bone as it is. You can see it attached to the sacrum part, but the sacrum part is also moving down. Another accessory, and I purposely use the word accessory because it does not offer any sort of purpose to the pelvic joint or the human body, is the coccyx region or the tailbone of the vertebrae, which is also a part of the pelvic girdle. Now, the pelvic joint is made up of this one very big bone. This bone is called as ilium. The other bone, which is right here, is called as the pubic bone. Right under the ilium is called as the pubic bone, and the last bone is, which is, if you can see right here, my finger is passing right through it, is called as ischium bone. 3 different bones of the pectoral girdle, of the pelvic girdle: ilium, pubic bone, and ischium. Now let's understand these 3 bones and how they work together to form the structure that we know as the hip joint. The ilium has this one empty space which is sort of a cavity in its own way. It is called as the iliac fossa. This is a very important portion of the ilium bone or the pelvic girdle because it offers a lot of support and attachment to the various tendons through which the muscles attach to the hip area of the human body. If this was a completely flat surface, then it may not be able to offer that much support as much as it does right now, because all the muscular tendons of the lower torso as well as the hip joint as well as the upper legs, they all come together to form and attach their tendons to this iliac fossa. There is a very minute protrudement coming outside around the pubic bone. This is called as the pubic crest. Another same purpose as the iliac fossa, providing stability and a hook to the various tendons that attach to the pubic joint, the pubic area of the legs. The socket end, if you pay attention over here, then the socket end of the pubic bone is called as the acetabulum. The acetabulum is basically the socket end of the pubic bone of the hip joint, wherein the ball end of the femur bone or the femoral joint comes in and fits in perfectly, offering enough stability and enough support and movement for the legs to work as they do with the present human body in any conditions possible. Keep in mind that the glenoid process as well as keep in mind that the glenoid process of the pectoral girdle as well as the acetabulum of the pelvic girdle, they both offer the same purpose. That means working as the socket end of these 2 joints. Now, another thing which forms the pubic bone, which is very vital for human existence as such, especially in case of females, is called as the pubic symphysis. The pubic symphysis is basically the empty space which is formed or which is occupied by the fibrous cartilage present between the pubic bones of the human body. The pubic crest is purposely and is, in females, it's more flexible, it's more functional, it's more rigid as compared to males, because at the time of delivery, mothers are supposed to expand the size and increase the pubic arch between the pubic bones to allow the baby to move out of their womb. But because males or men do not have this possibility of giving deliverance to a baby, then the pubic symphysis, the space between these 2 bones, as you can see right here, is comparatively fixed, harder and stronger as compared to a female. One very important thing that you need to pay attention to when we discuss the pelvic joint is called as the pubic arch. The pubic arch is basically a small angle between the legs and under the pubic symphysis, the purpose of which is very interesting for you to understand. Imagine the forensics people who are trying to investigate murders, and people who are trying to investigate burned bodies of human beings after any genocide as such, and you cannot identify between a man or a woman because the human skeleton looks the same without flesh and bones as such. So the first thing that these forensics experts they observe in the human body, in the human skeleton at such situations, is the pubic arch, which is present right under the pubic symphysis. In case if the angle between the two legs, and in case if the angle between the pubic symphysis is more than 90 degrees or 100 degrees, then naturally it is the skeleton of a female. If it is lesser than that, then it is obviously the skeleton of a male. Once again, let me have you go through a quick brief summary. Ilium, the first bone; pubic bone, the second bone; and ischium, the third bone. The acetabulum works as the socket end of the pelvic joint, wherein the femur bone fits in comfortably. The sacrum, which provides stability and connection to the ilium bones on either ends. The pubic crest, right around the fibrocartilage, the pubic crest offers support and stability and attachments to the various muscular tendons. These two empty spaces, these two holes in the pubic bone, right here, if you can see, my fingers are passing through these two holes. These foramens, or these hollow spaces, are called as obturator foramen. These are very vital in case of a healthy pelvic joint or a pelvic girdle, because they offer passage to the various bones, to the various, to the various muscles, to the various nerves and the blood vessels that connect the lower end of the body to the upper end of the body. If this passage was missing, if there was no hollow space, then naturally the lower body would not be as connected or as functioning as it is right now. This is all you need to know about the anatomy and the structure of the pelvic girdle. Now, keeping in mind what you need to do in order to maintain a healthy pelvic girdle, you need to include a very simple set of movements in case of the hip joint. While you're standing, simple leg raises, not too much stressful, if you're not into running, if you have other troubles, then even in a stationary position, simple leg raises, simple hip rotations, all of these basic movements which are very boring, very monotonous, very repetitive in nature, but they're very purposeful because they lubricate the hip joint or the pelvic girdle and allow minimum stress on the human body at the time of extreme situations. I hope you found today's video very informative. I enjoyed teaching it to you. I will see you again next time. Until then, namaste and thank you.